This morning on Carolina This Week, the second part of our look at the candidates for District 6 on Horry County Council. Carolina This Week starts now.
This is Carolina This Week. Carolina This Week with Tim McGinnis.
Good morning. Welcome to Carolina This Week. Coming up next month, voters in the Socastee and Forest Brook areas of Horry County will go to elect a District 6 councilman to replace Bob Grabowski, who died in April. First up this morning is Kirk Hanna. All right, Kirk Hanna, you're another candidate for Horry County Council District 6, one of the 6 for 6. Tell me a little bit about who you are and why do you want to represent District 6, which includes a lot of Socastee, the middle part of Horry County, Forest Brook area.
Well, Tim, District 6 is kind of cut up. It's a little funny, but I want to tell you about myself and who I am. I'm originally born and raised in Socastee on Forest Brook Road. Grew up on Forest Brook Road, riding my four-wheelers in the woods where now Forest Brook Elementary is. I remember when they started building that school out there, I thought, you know, who's going to come to a school in the middle of the woods? And now look at it. There's people and houses everywhere over there. I went to First Baptist Church in Myrtle Beach. My grandfather was Dr. Carl Compton. 30 plus years in First Baptist Church in Myrtle Beach. Grew up there with my mom playing the piano. Attended Socastee High School. While I was at high school, of course, I got involved in the construction industry. Started working with my dad, digging footers, painting houses, trimming homes, hanging cabinets, you know, and it kind of grew from there. As I graduated high school, my brothers and sisters, they encouraged me. They said, Kirk, you got to go away from school. Don't stay home, go away. So I went to USC my first year in college. I missed home. I loved Socastee. It's where I grew up. I've spent many, many days on the Intercoastal Waterway growing up. I missed home. But while I was there, I finished the entire year, so my older brother and my older sister couldn't say I didn't give it a chance. I finished the entire year, made good grades. My dad, while I was up at USC, he said, why don't you go ahead and take that test for the general contractor? So while I was up there, I took my test for my general contractor's license. Back then, you had to sit in an auditorium with real plans, real paper. Wasn't on a computer like it is with multiple questions. Took my test, finished school, and came home. I then proceeded, of course, to take my plumbing and electrical license, so I carry all of those licenses. I came home, got involved in the construction industry, and I just branched out from there. Been very successful. I own Hanco, built a multi-million-dollar construction firm. 49 plus people depend on me weekly for their paycheck. So I am a hard worker, and that's who I am. I think that the people of District 6 need somebody that's a real hard worker, that's going to stand up for them, and they're real.
Well, when you look at District 6, what's the big issue? What's the big issue you'd want to champion on council for District 6?
Well, District 6 is really funny. Right now we have, of course, the 707 widening that we as the taxpayers are paying for, even though it's a state road, which isn't right. You know, the state should be forking that bill, but we, the county, are stepping up for that. We have the new school that's been announced that's going on Big Block Road there. We need to do some planning, even though 707 is being widening right now. We need to plan for that school so we don't have the road in, and then the school's built, and now we're having to come back and do construction there. We need to plan for that. We have the recreation facility on Enterprise Road that, of course, I don't think people really know how much it is used, whether it be RCA, race cars, the archery clubs that use it, the soccer, the playground equipment that just the people around the area use. I'd like to expand that and help out the community in that area also.
Let's talk a little bit about roads. You mentioned the widening, and you know we're in this era where the state can't really figure out a way to fix the roads, at least this far into the legislative session, which ends on June 4th. They haven't figured it out yet at this point in May. What about roads? Because roads are bad everywhere, and I've driven through District 6 just in the past few days, and I hit a pothole or two.
Well, you know, it's funny. There are still dirt roads in our district that have not been paved, that homeowners, they call the county over and over, supposed to be on the ride to, didn't get paved on the ride to, or didn't get pushed through on the ride to like they were promised. There's several roads that need to be paved, potholes that are fixed.
So looking to Road 3 or Ride 3, are there things that you would really want to influence?
Oh, almost definitely. For the people of my district, you know, we pay taxes too. It doesn't need, I'm running for the people of this district, not Horry County as a whole. Yes, you have to work together with Horry County as a whole, but the people of this district need somebody that will stand up for them.
Let's talk about crime, public safety. Is there a crime problem in District 6?
Is there a crime problem? Of course there is. There is more of a drug problem, and of course if you have drugs, you have crime. I think that the average person doesn't really realize the amount of drugs that are truly in Socastee, District 6, Horry County as a whole. And I think you need to get to the underlying issues of crime to solve the crime. Our public safety sector, they work really hard and they're very dedicated. A lot of them even work when they're off the clock and don't get compensated for them. We need to really stand up for them and
There's been talk of cutting benefits to some county employees, including public safety workers, losing people through attrition, that type of thing. It's tough balancing a budget. I got to think that that's probably one of the tougher things in politics, is trying to make everybody happy when it comes down to budget time. What about, what would you be doing right now? What would you be looking into?
You know, that's really not fair for the public safety sector. Horry County has the lowest paid public safety officials than any municipality in this area. So they already start off low. And then if you promise them benefits and now you're going to take away those benefits, is that right? Is that fair? While other people, on the other hand, are getting raises and you're cutting these people's benefits? Yeah. You know, I don't know what I'd say about that, but I don't think it's right. What other people would say.
All right, well, last question for you, and kind of a loaded one, but I don't live in your district. But if I did live in your district, well then, why should I vote for you?
Well, you know, what I think, Tim, is the people of the district need somebody that will really represent them. It's all about leadership. Politics are all talk and no action. Well, guess what? I'm not a politician. You don't see me wearing a suit up here. This is who I am. I'm Kirk Hanna. I'm not a politician. I'm doing it for you, and you need somebody to represent you. You need smart leadership and real competence. I return phone calls. I don't run from problems. I approach them head on. I'm a working man. I work every day. I wear my hard hat, and I do what it takes to get the job done. Like many of you and many of your friends and neighbors, I've become increasingly concerned, increasingly anxious, and increasingly frustrated with government, particularly Conway. As your next county councilman, I'll focus on efforts on addressing the challenges that real hard-working people right here in Socastee, are facing each and every day, whether it be taxes, spending, economic development, roads and infrastructure, crime, over-regulation, and redundant ordinances. Vote for me, June the 16th.
All right, Kirk Hanna, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with more Carolina This Week. Welcome back to Carolina This Week. We're looking at the candidates for Horry County Council, District 6. The election is next month. Next up is Kerry Rowell. All right, Kerry Rowell has thrown his hat into the ring for District 6, one of the 6 for 6. Thanks for coming in to talk with me today. My first question is, for people who don't know who you are and why are you running for District 6?
My name's Kerry Rowell. I'm a financial services representative here in town. I've lived in Myrtle Beach for 21 years. I've always been a public servant and served with a lot of different nonprofits in town. The county council is a very unique opportunity to serve the public and serve Horry County. I have deep roots in Horry County. What do you think is the biggest, what would be the biggest cause that you would champion for District 6? Of course, includes Socastee, the Forest Brook area. What's something that really needs to be taken care of from council? Well, the two major issues I think are jobs and roads. Roads are probably more in the forefront for a lot of people. Forest Brook Road is a real problem. Forest Brook Road needs to stay in Ride 3 and be a 4-lane to 3-lane so the traffic doesn't back up so far. The second thing is the south evacuation route. If someone from the Socastee area has to leave in a hurricane, they have to come down 544 and out 501. With the south strand evacuation route, they can get over to 701. And they can take PDE Road up to 378, go out to Kingsburg, Lake City, Florence that way.
And what about jobs? We see a lot of jobs are coming to Carolina for us through call centers and things like that. We have the guns out in Aner, the gun manufacturers. What do you think what does Socastee need that can give people jobs?
Well, the Horry County Council does a good job with the Myrtle Beach Area Economic Council. They brought in the gun manufacturer and several good jobs here, but we have some resources not taken advantage of. The Grand Strand Scores chapter is a award-winning score chapter. They offer free services to small businesses to help them survive, help them expand, or open new locations. We should take advantage of our other local resources there so we can grow more jobs with small business.
How about crime? Is there a crime problem in District 6?
There's crime in District 6. I don't know that there's a bad crime problem in District 6, but I do think that the council's primary responsibilities is, police, fire, and ambulance service for us.
How are they doing so far?
I think they're doing a very good job.
There's been some talk, of course, I think probably the toughest part of being on any government council or anything would be coming up with a budget.
Yeah.
And there's been talk in the budget about maybe cutting some benefits of some public safety employees. When you balance a budget, how sharp do your teeth have to be?
I think a balanced budget is crucial to all the levels of government. One of the issues in the budget that come up this year is the overtime for the county employees. If a business owner had the same issue with overtime, they would hire part-time workers to fill in the overtime slots, and then grandfather in all the existing employees and start a graduated vacation system for all the new hires. And so instead of starting off with 5 weeks, you start off with 1 week or 2 weeks, and then after 8 or 10 years, you have 5 weeks.
So when it comes to building a consensus on council, when it comes to working with other people, do you see yourself fitting in with the crew that's up there now?
I do. I know several of them already, and I think I have good decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, and persuasion skills.
Now let's go back to roads for just a minute, because there's a big fight between the state and all counties right now. The state wants to put a lot of the burden on the counties to fix the roads. When it comes to fixing roads like Forest Brook Road and the ones you've mentioned, building a southern evacuation lifeline or down the south end of the Strand, where do you get the money? How do you make that happen when you have the state saying, oh, we don't want to pay for anything, and the county saying, well, we're doing the best we can with what we can? Do you raise taxes? How do you find the money?
Horry County has managed to build 22, 31, the old pass at Sockstead Boulevard. They're working on Glennsbury Road now. All of that with the RIDE program. Horry County has been able to build roads and pay for it themselves. I think we're going to have to continue to do that to have the roads we need.
Last question for you. I don't live in your district, but if I did, well, why would you want me to vote for you?
I have more experience, life experience in working and business experience than any other candidate. I have developed decision-making skills, problem-solving skills in doing that. I think I would be the best candidate. The issues we have today may not be our issues tomorrow, and so someone needs to have problem-solving skills, decision-making skills to handle those future issues. All right.
Well, Kerry Rowell, candidate for District 6, Horry County Council, thank you for talking with me this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Carolina This Week. Thanks for sticking with us on Carolina This Week this morning. We're looking at the candidates for Horry County Council District 6. Here's Cam Crawford. Cam Crawford is joining me now, one of the 6 for 6. Kind of a big race. Cam, you have a little political experience, or a lot of political experience around Horry County. Tell people who don't know who you are a little bit about who you are and why do you want to be the District 6 representative on council?
Okay, I'll just give you a little history. After I graduated from Coastal in 2004, I worked for our congressman then, who was Henry Brown, and worked with him for about 7 years. Got some good experience there. Earned a master's degree while I worked for him. In 2008, I met my wife, Heather, and we married in 2011. I was fortunate enough to have her as my wife. And then in late 2011, co-founded a small communications company with a friend of mine. And through that experience, we worked on a number of different projects, issue-based, and some campaigns and related, those sorts of related things. But anyway, so I guess my story begins for this position with going back to 2011. Our home was burglarized. And as a result of that got me thinking about our community and the impact that crime has on it. And so out of that, I started thinking about, what I could do, and I started to consider the possibility, of pursuing something on county council. Of course, we had Bob at the time and had a good relationship with him, and so, didn't want to do anything there, but just thinking forward, that kind of got me thinking about it, and so here we are now. And I would also say that during my time with Henry Brown, working with him and the various municipalities, it helped kind of enlighten me as to the unique needs that our area has, particularly infrastructure and that sort of thing.
And infrastructure and crime are two of the bigger issues affecting probably every county council district, but in particular District 6, which for most people who may not know what it is, that's Forest Brook and Sockasty, a lot of the central parts of Horry County.
Right.
Crime, is there a crime problem in District 6?
I think so. I think we've had some issues, particularly that area east of the high school, moving toward the back gate. I know that we've had a series of burglaries in that area. My neighborhood's been affected. Surrounding neighborhoods have been affected, and if I'm allowed to serve, I want to work with council and the public to address those sorts of needs.
Well, talking about law enforcement, as counties try to balance their budget, they always face tough choices. One of the considerations right now is possibly cutting benefits or cutting benefits to some public service workers, including law enforcement. What do you think about something like that? How do you balance a budget? Does something need to be done?
Well, those are tough decisions, obviously. You don't want to cut employees. They work hard for the county, and you want to ensure that they have the benefits that they were hired under, and those sorts of things. And so those are tough decisions. I'll say that again, if I'm allowed to serve, that I will certainly take everything into consideration. I know that paid time or paid time off, that's about 14 million right there, and then another 3.5 million when we look at overtime for people to cover that time, and so we probably can improve some there. I think maybe examining moving forward, going to more of a conventional time off system for public employees. That's probably something that the council will examine moving forward, and that's certainly something that I would look at. But we want to be reasonable with it, and we certainly want to maintain a competitive atmosphere. We want to make sure that we keep our good employees at the county, and want to make sure that we're competitive, in the future.
How about infrastructure? I mean, we here South Carolina is struggling with how to fix roads and bridges. Well, the counties are struggling too, and the state's talking about turning over some of the responsibility of state roads to counties. So I know a lot of state roads go through Horry County and go through District 6. A lot of infrastructure work needs to be done. How do you go about tackling it, and what are some of the big infrastructure problems that you see in District 6?
Well, I think right off the top, we could look at Forest Brook Road. Obviously, that's a part of the Ride 3 program, and hopefully that will pass muster with the 6th panel, and we'll move on to council for a full vote, and then to the referendum. So that's an important project. I think a vital project looking forward into the future is obviously SEL. And I know there's $20 million in Ride 3 for that. I mean, that's a good start, but as we continue to take on more population, I think on the south end, when you add in places like Forest Brook and Seagate Village and that area, you know, you're looking at 75,000 people. So we need to look forward or be forward thinking in terms of evacuation and infrastructure. We need a route for the south end in order to prevent backlog on roads like 544 and 501. And so I think that's something that we really need to pay close attention to, the cell project. So.
Got to ask you the last question. I'm going to need a quick answer for you, but what separates you from the other 5 for District 6?
Right.
Why should I vote for you?
Well, I think if you're, well, let me just say this first. My primary tenets in this race are accessibility and being responsive. And those are 2 things that I take very seriously. I think they're key components when we talk about constituent service. So if people have an issue, you know, I want to hear about it and I want to be able to help. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there to listen, and I'm going to be there to find a practical solution. If I can't, if it's outside of my purview, I'm going to get you to somebody who can. I would also say that if you're looking for someone who can work with others and work with the public and sort of balance those scales, you know, I think I'm a good candidate for that. Finally, I would say that if you're looking for an advocate, someone who while he can work with the public and council, but someone who's not afraid to take a stand and to fight for the needs of District 6. I'm more than capable of doing that, and I'm not afraid to do it. So I think that's what I bring to the table, and I hope to have the privilege of serving the people of District 6.
All right, Cam Crawford, candidate for District 6, thanks for talking with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Thank you, Tim.
That's all for Carolina this week. Hope to see you back here next Sunday morning at 11.